You've been watching North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum give his 2019 State of the State address from the House chamber. For the most part, an optimistic message, at times an emotional address. We saw him get choked up a couple times, one time when making a big announcement about tribal relations. We'll show you that clip here in just a minute, but first let's recap some of the things he talked about today. Let's start with the State of the State. He said, quote, "The state of the state is that we stand at the cusp of a new era in North Dakota's history, and by harnessing the courage to dare greatly, we will cultivate a prosperous future for generations to come. With action, we will shine." That line drew applause from the crowd there of lawmakers listening to his 2019 State of the State address. Later on in the speech, Burgum touted a lot of the state's accomplishments and some statistics like this, including North Dakota being the best quality of life, having one of the fastest growing states in the United States since 2010, and being named the best state to start a business, an important accomplishment there with his focus on economic growth. Burgum also pointed to the I-Pipe. It's a pipeline program which is helping prevent and detect pipeline leaks across the state. He says this private and public project is helping the state energy production, and it shows that innovation, not regulation, is the best way to solve complex challenges in the digital age. Governor Burgum also discussed the Recovery Reinvented program, something very important to him and his wife. He saluted a woman who was there in attendance today named Jessica Noble. She said that she is one of the hundreds of people who have been helped through this program. And Burgum added that addiction is one of the issues holding the state back from reaching its full potential. He also addressed the state's IT department and their efforts in cybersecurity, proposing an investment of more than $16 million to protect our state against cyber attacks, something he says we see millions of every month. And also the governor's Main Street initiative that was touted in his speech. The first half of the speech was completely dedicated to the state's wins over the past 2 years he's been in office. Governor Burgum applauded the 18 new legislators also that have taken seats just today in the Capitol. Now, in the second half of the speech, he went on to lay out his plans for the future. Of course, the session's starting today, so we're going to see a lot of action over these coming weeks. He says workforce remains the #1 factor for economic growth. His budget would take $30 million in legacy fund earnings for career academies. He would also like $40 million of legacy fund dollars for the Higher Education Challenge Fund for scholarships and classroom instruction equipment. Governor Burgum is also proposing going from a one-board higher education board to a multi-board system. That was one of the proposals that came from one of his task force that he created through executive order, and he really encouraged lawmakers today to consider that multi-board approach. The governor also made a proposal to spend $50 million in legacy fund dollars for the Teddy Roosevelt Presidential Library. He proposes it be at the entrance of the Teddy Roosevelt National Park. He says that $50 million will receive a 2-to-1 match from federal and foundational grants. So every $1 in state funds, $2 more will be given to that program through other sources. He urged that proposal to be taken up without delay in the legislature. The most special moment of the speech came at the halfway point. Governor Doug Burgum announced that the tribal flags of the 5 Native American tribes in North Dakota will now be displayed in Memorial Hall. Attempts in the 2015 and 2017 legislative sessions to pass a bill which would have displayed the flags failed in both sessions in the House. Burgum has said since taking office that he has wanted to mend the relationship between the state government and the tribes. Governor Burgum was emotional today when saying there's now mutual respect, that we are all North Dakotans.
In the spirit of that mutual respect, we're honored to announce that the governor's office today will begin to display the flags of the 5 tribal nations with whom we share geography, alongside our state and national flags, outside the governor's office in Memorial Hall.
A meaningful accomplishment there for Governor Doug Burgum, as you can tell. Now we're going to head back to the state capitol to hear from the Democratic Party. Our Malik Rankin is live, standing by with State Senator Aaron Oban. Malik.
Thanks, Chad. In about 20 minutes, the Dem MP will meet to deliver their response to Governor Doug Burgum's State of the State address. Now, I'm joined here with Democratic Senator Erin Obian. Erin, what did you make of the governor's remarks?
I think Governor Burgum does a good job of celebrating the things we have to celebrate in North Dakota. The fact that we have strong energy and agriculture sectors, our military, our tribal nations, those are all things worth being optimistic and celebrating. But also talking about the challenges that we are expected to face now that we are into our legislative session.
And now he did spend a good aspect of his address reiterating some of the points made in the budget forecast. What aspects of that do you think create the biggest partisan divide?
You know, I don't know that a lot of this is going to be partisan as much as I think there will be differences in where we believe budget priorities lie. And so, you know, what we have laid out is that making sure to fund education, K-12, higher ed, our human services, behavioral health services, nursing homes, Medicaid expansion, workforce issues. So we've outlined a number of issues that we think we can align with the governor but make sure we invest in.
Well, thank you so much for joining me, Senator Erin Obian. I'll send it back to you in the studio, Chad.
Malik Rankin reporting. Thanks, Malik. Of course, Senator Obian said there could be some issues coming up with how funds have been reallocated. Governor Burgum proposing these reinventing ideas of reinventing government, so we'll see how that plays out over this session. Now, we will have more coverage on the State of the State tonight coming up in our evening newscast, so please join us for KX News at 5. You can also follow us online at kxnet.com, on social media. We will continue to follow the beginning of the 66th legislative session as well, so a lot of news will be coming out of that. Thanks for watching this special report. We'll be back here tonight at 5.